Dota, League of Legends, Overwatch and Counter-Strike. Ask anyone on the street about gaming and the young will talk about it enthusiastically. But have you thought about gaming as a career in Singapore? Projected to be a billion-dollar industry, eSports will be officially included as a medal sports in the 2022 Asian Games held in Hangzhou, China, as announced by the Olympic Council of Asia. This brings forth the question, how is the gaming industry like in Singapore at present?
I think the esports culture in Singapore is not very established, not as established as, say, China or US. But there's a community here in Singapore, and I think it's growing quite fast in recent years.
However, in a pragmatic society like Singapore, there remains a stigma towards gaming, which is associated with a waste of time, an unsustainable career, and a domain for people who cannot excel in studies. This brings forth the question, will professional gaming be a viable career, especially in this pragmatic society that we live in?
Because it's games, right? I mean, people think games is fun, and it's not something that you do professionally. I mean, even what I'm more experienced with is teaching game design. And even there, like going to make games, people's parents always ask, like, are you sure you can make games and get paid for it? So imagine even beyond that, like, play games and get paid for it.
Playing professionally requires discipline and perseverance. The stigma against gaming, coupled with the lack of support, led to many gamers facing difficulties pursuing a long-term esports career.
They are in it for a quick cash grab, or it's never about a long term. It's always about how much money they can make from this one event. So there's no sustainability. It was mostly, yeah, I get sponsored, I get items, I get free like mouse, keyboards, computer parts and all that. But in terms of monetary payout, it's really not enough. And for us to get paid here, right, you really have to be the top 1%.
It really depends on whether or not you have the tenacity to continue on in this industry. Because it's going to be really difficult. Unless you really, really want it, probably not for you.
Despite these negative mindsets on esports as a career option, many organizations are stepping up their efforts to provide more support to establish the esports scene in Singapore. Just this year, the Singapore Cyber Sports and Online Gaming Association, or SCOGA, partnered with the world's largest streaming website, Twitch, to launch our first esports academy. They provide trainings to locals who aspire to be professional gamers.
From running major events like campus game fairs to conventions and all that to now starting an esports academy to train and develop more people for esports.
Besides training gamers, they also aim to change perceptions and build the gaming ecosystem in Singapore.
There are a fair amount of good jobs and career opportunities in esports, but it's like I said, there can be more. It's still early, and I think for us, we are very focused not just in changing perception, but in making sure that we grow the ecosystem. There are more and more opportunities, good opportunities for people who want to get involved in esports to make sure that they can make it sustainable. They can raise their families and.
Moving forward, for Singapore to establish herself as one of the key leaders in this industry, more should be done to create a conducive ecosystem for the industry to thrive.
In Asia, we have countries like China and Korea to compete against, which they themselves have a very well developed esports industry, and this is not something that we can fight based on sheer size alone.
Despite our small market size, there is still great potential for Singapore to rise in the esports industry.
Some of the most sizable companies coming out of Singapore right now, two of them are actually in esports. One is Razer, the other one is in C, which is known as Garena. I think a lot of people don't realize that. So just based on that alone, I would say that Singapore has great potential and future.
With the stigmatization and the lack of financial support, the road to strengthening the esports industry in Singapore may be lined with challenges. But slowly and surely, we are progressing in the right direction. With Razer backing up our new esports team, KL's Theory, perhaps one day Singapore could play its way up to the 2022 Asian Games against major players like Korea and China. Can we anticipate a jostle schooling in esports?